that give the opportunity for the nation to provide every opportunity.
I'll just interrupt you, Alistair, because these are scenes from Windsor, and there are the two brothers, Prince William and Harry, and also, I think that's Meghan. So Meghan is there as well. So there we are, the two princes and their wives. Alistair, this wasn't expected.
No, the Prince and Princess of Wales with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex coming down the long walk to Cambridge Gate, interestingly, and perhaps after a short talk, maybe coming out to meet the public who are here. A family together. The Prince of Wales has only recently issued his statement saying that he will do whatever he can to fully support the new king. Coming down from Windsor Castle, the Great George IV Gate behind them, and framing their departure now from the private area and coming into the public part of the park, where the long walk has often had many royal occasions, not least more recently when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were married, coming out to look at the enormous number of floral tributes laid here for the Queen, who spent most of the latter months of her life here at Windsor Castle. She was here throughout COVID. It was here that the Duke of Edinburgh died, and it was a very special place for the Queen and Prince Philip, probably their principal home, and for their two grandsons to be here with their wives, looking at those floral tributes.
And neither the Princess of Wales, as she is now, nor Meghan making the journey up to Scotland.
Well, they have families and responsibilities, and it matters only that they're here now in support of the King and remembering their grandmother. It is extraordinary, the quantity of contributions and things that have been left by members of the public to reflect upon a Queen whose reign was so long. recent years, and I rather sense that for the late Queen, knowing that her two grandsons are here with their two wives, together supporting the King and reflecting upon her and all the kindnesses that have been shown in reflection of the late Queen's life, would be very special to her. She only really ever cared that all the family should be happy, and she, as was said by the King, she always saw the very best in everybody, and she will have done that in particular with all members of her family.
All right, Alistair, thank you very much. Rhiannon Mills, our royal correspondent, is also watching these pictures with us. And Rhiannon, it's interesting that King Charles met senior political figures in the building behind me here after a special ceremony earlier which officially proclaimed him as king. More on the events of the day in just a moment, but first let's go straight over to our royal correspondent, Rhiannon Mills. Rhiannon.
So in the last hour or so, we have been briefed by the palace in terms of what we can expect to unfold in the coming 10 days when it comes to allowing the country, her realms and the rest of the world to pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth II. Now, the key point that many of us were waiting to hear, exactly when that state funeral is due to take place. It's now been confirmed that Monday the 19th of September is going to be the day that the state funeral will happen at Westminster Abbey. It'll happen at 11 a.m. in the morning, and earlier on today we were told that the King had authorised that that will be a national day of mourning. It will be a bank holiday. Now also, it's been confirmed today that at the moment the Queen is currently in the ballroom. Her coffin is in the ballroom at Balmoral, where members of the estate there are able to pay tribute. But tomorrow the coffin will be moved. So at 10 a.m. in the morning, gatekeepers will carry her coffin out of Balmoral Castle, where she passed away earlier this week. They will slowly drive from Balmoral to Edinburgh. The slow drive will allow people to line the streets to pay their respects, and the coffin is due to arrive in Edinburgh at around 3:30 in the afternoon, where it will be taken to the Palace of Holyrood House, where overnight, again, the coffin will be in residence to allow royal household staff to pay their respects. If we then look towards Monday, now this is a day where we can anticipate that we will see the King delivering a speech here in London, in Westminster Hall, in front of the House of Lords and the House of Commons, before he then travels up to Edinburgh, where of course the Queen's coffin remains, and a service will be carried out at St Giles Cathedral, a service of remembrance, which will see members of the royal family involved, but also people from every aspect of Scottish society. The Queen's coffin will then stay at St Giles Cathedral, where members of the public will then be allowed to pay their own respects. They will be able to enter the cathedral to see her coffin. We'll also see members of the family staging a vigil around that coffin on Monday evening. Now, on Tuesday, the Queen's coffin will start to make its journey down to London. We understand that in the evening of Tuesday the 13th, it will be flown from Edinburgh to Northolt and then transferred by road to Buckingham Palace, where the coffin will be met by members of the royal family. And then on Wednesday, a moment that we were anticipating, the Queen's coffin will then be taken in a procession from Buckingham Palace to the Palace of Westminster, and it will then lie in state in Westminster Hall so that people can pay their respects. And over the coming 4 days, they are anticipating that tens of thousands of people are likely to line the route, queuing up to pay their final respects as they walk through Westminster Hall. Now, running concurrently to those plans when it comes to the Queen's coffin, the King also has his own plans. Now, we understand that tomorrow he is due to meet up with the Secretary General of the Commonwealth and also host High Commissioners as well. Then on Monday, as I said earlier, he will address the Palace of Westminster, the House of Commons and the House of Lords, and then make that journey up to Edinburgh for that service at St Giles Cathedral. On Tuesday, he will then travel to Belfast, to Hillsborough Castle. He will meet the Secretary of State of Northern Ireland and other leaders of political parties, and there will be messages of condolence at the Northern Ireland Assembly. We're also told that on Friday the 16th, he will travel to Wales, and then of course, as it's now been confirmed, the date of Queen Elizabeth II's state funeral is Monday the 19th of September.
Yes, Rhiannon's coming day is now clearly set out by Buckingham Palace. Just before you go, are there any more details about the funeral itself?
We've been told that we can anticipate every day more details in terms of how everything is going to look. So which members of the royal family are likely to take part, for example, in a procession that will see the coffin move from Holyrood House in Edinburgh to St Giles Cathedral, which members of the family will take part in the procession when it comes to the coffin again moving from Buckingham Palace to the Palace of Westminster. And I think there's going to have been an awful lot of detail put into that state funeral. We are told that the Queen was consulted on all of her funeral plans, and so we have to wait, in essence, for a few days before they will give us more details on the look, the feel of that funeral. But I think we can anticipate that leaders around the world are likely to want to travel over here for that moment to pay their respects, when you consider the tributes that we've heard from around the world already. Listening to the briefing from those who've been involved in forming these plans, the Earl Marshal, the Duke of Norfolk, was talking about the great honour that it will be to deliver the plans along the lines of the Queen's wishes, how the whole royal household is joining the world in feeling that sense of grief at the moment. But they are a team that are committed to doing justice, to making sure that this is the funeral that such a remarkable woman deserved. Also, when it comes to King Charles III, We're told that he is, of course, going to be carrying out all of the necessary state duties that have been passed to him. But it was made very clear that his main focus at the moment, and I think we've already seen this in his address to the nation, the words he delivered today at the Accession Council, the fact that yesterday he wanted to get out to meet the crowds, his main focus is now on leading the royal family, the nation and realms in this moment of mourning.